Hey everyone. So we're talking about today the idea of what do you do when you can't get a therapist. So a lot of people have been really appreciative of the how to find a therapist video, which I'll probably try to put some more up here-ish. But one of the problems is that there are areas where there's a very low amount of therapists to kind of serve certain demographics, or they'll talk about how the therapists they tried in the area suck. And so we wanted to kind of do a quick sort of addendum to that video and talk about what do you do when you can't find a therapist? What do you do when the therapist is when there's not a therapist in your area to work on certain things? Now, obviously,
you have to wait a while, right? You're on a wait list for months, and you're like, "Well, I really need help now."
Yep. So why don't you take it away?
So if you are in school, some universities do have CAPS and a few other programs for some crisis counseling or more or less counseling. So I think that's one avenue to try to just kind of get you through a situation. There's that. Another big thing is honestly doing research, looking up with YouTube, if there's any symptoms that you can identify that you're really struggling with, and you could pick one thing to focus on that you think might be really fix something, right? If you're struggling with time management, you're struggling with getting to appointments on time and making your whole life schedule work and you're just lost, start doing some research, watch some videos, look at some articles, see what strategies you can find that might help you. And I think that's a big one. That goes for a lot of different things. If there's something emotional going on, see what you can find that might resonate with you. I know we really like How to ADHD. Dr. Tracy Marks has got some really awesome videos.
Dr. Z.
Dr. Z's got great stuff on trans videos. And there's quite a few other YouTubers out there as well. I was going to mention self-diagnosis as well real quick. We've dealt with this a bit in the past, and there's a longer video with our friend Wednesday as well. But when you're looking stuff up, it's okay if you don't have a diagnosis. All right? Because right now you're really in a place where you're looking for strategies that will help you right now. And if a How to ADHD video helps you figure out your planner, no, it works. Use that skill set. That's a skill, right? And if you have ADHD or you don't, it doesn't really matter as long as that skill helps you, right? And so when you're kind of in this research phase, a better framing to use might be self-assessment, right? You have kind of assessed your situation, you've looked into it, and you think that something that likely might be going on is, it could be ADHD, it could be autism, it could be borderline or anything else. And so if that's kind of your mapping and that's what you're looking into and it's helping you, you're looking at different strategies to deal with things from that perspective, cool, right? You can always get in with a therapist and be like, so, hey, here's what I've been kind of working off of. Here's my ideas so far. Here's where I've been researching. No, that's a really great way to start out a therapy, with a new person, right? You come in with a roadmap already. And then kind of always give you their thoughts or, bring in new knowledge to the situation. Maybe that diagnosis are no, you're solid. Maybe they might be well, let's, discuss some more options around that, right? So I think those are some of the big ones that I think about. I know you talk a lot about having a lot of little mini skills with Jess and I both do, but especially there's container, there's square breathing, meditation. Do you want to?
Yeah. I think there are skills that can be really helpful for dealing with certain types of things when you can't find a therapist. Square breathing is a really good one for anxiety. The container is really good for trauma. Those are on the channel. Though we probably want to re-record them at some point. But the additional thing is that as far as someone in chat asks, BPD stuff, without having a therapist, BPD stuff is going to have to be a lot of exploring what's going on in your body and what your emotions are, and then making conscious choices about your behavior, because a lot of BPD, when untreated, tends to be very reactive. The thing is also read. In the case of BPD especially, this is true. I mean, there's two pretty seminal books out that I think are helpful in this case. One of them being Walking on Eggshells, and the other one being I Hate You, Please Don't Go.
Yeah.
And both of these books, I think, can be really helpful to understand things. Yeah, I mean that's the other part of it here is looking for things that are helpful. Looking, especially when you're looking at like reviews for books, look for stuff that doesn't scream, self-help. Look for stuff that seems like it's actually like real research, real information, and then you feel like the people there are up to a level of knowledge that you're trying to get to or trying to understand. Because the problem is that like, there's other aspects of like personal growth that can happen as well. Like a good one example would be like support groups. Like go to a support group and check that out. Like I know there's one in the Michigan area that's from a group in Metro Detroit called Affirmations, and they'll do like binary, non-binary like support group systems. If you're looking at to deal with Body Keeps the Score is a perfect example. That kind of stuff can be really helpful. Look what's got the highest ratings on a fucking on fucking Amazon or whatnot, or any other book depository. The other thing is that I would also say is like, don't lose hope, because in a lot of ways, like not finding a therapist is a combination of a number of factors. Sometimes it is legitimately there as the well is dry, but other times it can be that the well is not so much dry as in you may not know what to look for. So for example, in the previously stated like BPD argument, like,
oh yeah, if you find people who aren't very familiar with BPD, but you think that might be going on, changing your search to finding people specifically that deal with BPD may help a lot, right? Or looking for people that specifically, work with your age group, right? People who are like, no, I'm actually good at teens and this is like a big deal. And learning from past experiences, kind of figuring out what questions to ask, maybe, I think. Looking at your past therapists, like if there's issues that were coming up, maybe figure out how you would interview the new therapist from those issues. Ask your therapist what kind of approaches they're using or how they might like approach a situation. That way you've got a better idea going in and you can kind of screen a bit earlier in the process. And you can absolutely ask them, hey, what is your experience working with, this type of diagnosis or this group of people, right? Or what's your philosophy, when working with this, or what kind of modalities do you use? Some of those questions might jog a bit more than just, starting out your session with like, well, let's go over my history kind of thing.
Well, that gets into more if you find a person, but like, again, part of it is also if you don't, and you're using these questions to kind of discern if this person's capable and you don't find anybody, that's not a sign to like lower your standards necessarily. That's a sign that there could be a standards issue there. Maybe there's something you're adding in there that we haven't said or doesn't make sense. But it also can just be that your standards it could also just be that your standards are doing what they're supposed to. They're weeding out the people that aren't going to work.
Yes. Yep.
So,
another large area that I think is important is self-care. And we have a video on this where I talk about short-term and long-term self-care. And it's important to recognize that we need a mix of both. So like video games are really great at just immediate, hey, I feel good and this is fun. Okay. They're really, really good at that. But the video games might not help you make calls for like doctor's offices or make appointments for you. Okay. But those calls are still going to be needed for care for you. Okay. They may not be fun, but they're still important. So doing a mix of, self-care is going to be really huge. Pick a thing and I think being really clear with yourself, this is for me, for my self-care, for my benefit. And really set that intention when you go to do this stuff. Even if it's video games. I am sitting down right now to relax, to have fun, to give myself a break the best I can. It's okay if thoughts come up, but you know what? My goal is to give myself a break as much as possible. Or like, you know what? I hate phone calls, but I know that this appointment could really help me in the end. So I'm going to try my best to get that done today. All right. If you've got any like nutrition goals, same thing. You know what? I'm going to try one thing right now and just see how it goes and see if that one change can help me. Right. And so just figuring out, what you can do right then in the moment that's going to get you to feeling just a bit better, just a bit, more solid or more here, or just kind of even out stuff. And I think just taking it, just breaking it down one piece at a time, one moment at a time, just to get through things right now. It won't be like that.
Also,
forever.
rely on your support systems, your families if they're supportive, your Discord groups. Like, if you're not able to find therapists, obviously you can't treat your friends and your family like therapists, but having that support system can be huge.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've got.
As far as support system, I definitely recommend being really, really direct with people and being like, hey, I am struggling. Can you help talk with me? Can you help with XYZ? Could we hang out and play a video game together? Because I'm really struggling emotionally and I really need this. Being very direct with what's going on with you and what you're asking for is going to get good results, because sometimes other people aren't good at reading it, and it's not that they don't care, but reading that communication or understanding how severe it is can be difficult, especially when, you know, you're like Jess and I and most of our social systems online. Okay, it's really hard to tell when people are struggling. So if you can, you know, be very clear about that when you're able to, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm hearing my phone.
I am hearing your phone.
Oh well. But I think that's everything I've got.
Let me think for a second here. I think that's most of it. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just be really clear with people when you're able to. With reaching out.
Yeah, Zena's not keeping their mic closed today.
Sorry, everyone. I'm bad at that. Is there any questions real quick before we finish up? I need to work on recognizing that not every moment of my day needs to be productive. True. What's up?
Yeah, I just need to wrap it up.
I figured there was just a question or two, and yeah. Is it like ended now, Pat?
No, I just don't feel good.
Okay. If I can take the last question, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the bathroom.
Okay, go ahead. I'll wrap up the segment and then I'll be back in a few. Yeah, I won't end anything without you. So what to do when people around you don't know how / don't want to give that kind of support? Okay, so this is why I suggest being clear and asking what they're able to do, or having conversations with people about how you're able to help. Okay, like I specifically let people know it is okay to message me any time of the night or day, and I will see it when I see it. I'll get back to you when I can, because I, on my end, manage my own notifications. If I need to turn off my phone to sleep, I will. Right? So I have had that conversation with people numerous times. I have agreements with people. Hey, if you are feeling really isolated, if you are feeling like you're having ideations about self-harm or anything else, message me first, right? Reach out and say something, right? Even if I can't respond, you still made a point of contact. So having those conversations ahead of time are good. The don't know how, people aren't going to know how. If you're dealing with something really complicated, they really might not have the knowledge to help you. And in that case, I think figuring out what somebody is able to do is just fine. Like if you've got a friend and what you guys do together is play video games, cool. If what you do together is play, you watch shows, cool. If you've got other people that, maybe can handle a bit more stuff, that works. If there's a don't want to, like there's going to be times when if they truly don't want to because like they don't care, or they're really just not showing up as a friend, okay. You got to deal with that on the friend issue, and maybe that's not a great friendship or that's not meeting both of your needs. Okay, you'll have to evaluate that. But also if it's a don't want to is then like, well shit, I got to work, or like I am also emotionally fried right now and I just can't handle shit. I know my friend's reaching out to me, but I'm not at a place to help them. That's more of a situation of, okay, now you might need to just reach out to another person, reach out again, keep reaching out until you find somebody who is available to help if you're really in a bad spot, or finding another mode of self-care until somebody is available. That's probably the big one. So I think those are, I guess those are the big ones. The other book recommendation I have is Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I really, really like that one for dealing with emotions. I've read that quite a few times. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that I think is about everything for this segment. So if there's no other questions, we'll kind of cut it here.
If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, consider donating to us. You can support us on our website, transgirltherapist.org. You can also help us on our Patreon, link below, or you can become a member here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.